Hey guys, welcome to episode number 75. Today's Friday, so it's Fan Friday. And by popular request, here is the 10-gallon Nano with my two clownfish. As you can see, I have two Ocellaris clowns. They're kind of hiding in the corner right now because I just did a water change. Since it is Friday, the lid is kind of off center here, and I do have an Eheim automatic feeder set up for the weekend for the clownfish. But as you can see, I have one of the black color morphs. He's got a little bit of an orange face to him. Very cute. And then the regular Ocellaris, the orange one. And got these at the local fish store for a pretty good price. And they're pretty good size. They were selling a few smaller ones, but they look like they had some either a parasite or bacteria or some sort of growth on them. So I opted to get some of the larger ones that were in tanks that were on a different system, so they didn't have any of those problems. But these are tank raised. I believe they come from Maine, so not too far away, and I'm really happy with them so far. I got this one out of the back tank. He was in a large tank with a bunch of coral all by himself. And then I got this guy from the front tank. I was about to leave with just the one black one, but then on my way out I noticed that they had one more Ocellaris in the 10-gallon Nano that they had set up at the counter. So I asked if he was for sale, and he was. So I lucked out. I got a good pair. And the black one is a little bit bigger. So if you're not familiar with clownfish, they are sexually dimorphic, which means that they can be both male or female. And how they decide that is based on dominance. So it's always recommended to get two clownfish of slightly different sizes. If you put two of the same size in, they'll fight each other, and they'll be confused. They won't know which one's dominant, and they'll do more damage to one another than is necessary, and you might need to split them up. But since the black one is a little bit bigger, she maintained dominance pretty quickly, or gained dominance fairly quickly, and so whichever one is larger, whichever one is more dominant, will always become the female of the group, and the smaller one will always become the male. So you see they're kind of doing their thing. I don't think these are going to breed at all in this tank. There's just a little bit too much activity going on here with the shrimp and the snails and the worms and stuff. I think they would much prefer a tank to themselves with just like a clay pot if they were going to breed. But the point isn't for them to breed, it's for them to fill out this aquarium. And I think with these two fish in here, this aquarium is almost complete. Of course, clownfish like anemones, and I'm not going to get one quite yet, like people recommended. I'm going to let this kind of break in. I just added bioload to the tank with two fish here. It's been set up for a month, but now that it has two fish in it, I'd like them to be in here for at least a month or two before I even consider adding anything else to the tank. And when I do, I'm going to have to do some research on a couple different types of anemones. I've heard bubble tip are a pretty good option, but I know that all anemones get a little bit too big for a tank this size. So I will have to do some reading on light requirements. This LED light might not be enough for some anemones, and feeding requirements, and temperature, salinity, pH requirements for them to make sure it's really compatible with a tank like this. And of course, there's also the matter of price. I don't want to spend a lot on an anemone, especially since it will be my first try at an anemone, because if it dies, then I'll be sad. It will probably pollute the water, and I'll have to start all over again. I'd much rather learn with a cheaper anemone, something smaller, something that can grow into the tank and hopefully won't be too large to be disruptive. I guess the only other consideration is if anything did happen to this tank and I needed to medicate the fish, I don't really have like a quarantine tank or anything like that, so I would probably end up losing something between the fish and the shrimp and an anemone. It's a little bit of a complicated environment at that point, but clownfish do love anemones, and I think one would fit really great right on that rock surface there. So I know they would enjoy it a lot, and it would make watching them even more entertaining than it already is. But I've had a bunch of people come over and check them out, and they are very interesting fish. I wasn't sure how entertaining they would be, but they do have real noticeable personality to them, and they are very fun to watch. Small, colorful fish, very fun to watch. If anyone's considering a first-time saltwater tank or first-time Nano tank, I would definitely recommend the Eheim Aqua style here with a pair of clownfish. I think it really is the quintessential Nano tank. You can't really get any more classic than this. And I am happy that I got two different color morphs here with the Ocellaris clowns. I think having both of them just be plain orange Ocellaris clowns would be alright, but this way you can kind of tell them apart. People who pass by will be able to tell one from the other really easily, and so it kind of makes it easier on everyone, and it adds a little bit of a dynamic to the tank. So yeah, I'm really happy with this tank so far. Like I said, I just did a water change. It's about 2 gallons. So it's a little bit cloudy in here still, but that should clear up. And I've got this set to feed twice a day here over the weekend. And what I ended up doing is they don't really particularly like this API marine flake. And so what I've been doing is giving them some of my guppy flake. It's like a spirulina based flake. It's just in this old container. This isn't the actual food. It's not top fin. It's actually Ken's fish food. So that's what I put in here for now. I probably will be varying their diet. I'm gonna feed them a bunch of things within these first few weeks just to see what they eat, what they don't eat, and I'll probably read a little bit more into their diet to make sure that I'm supplying everything they need. But if any of you have clowns, let me know what you feed them. I would be really interested to know so that I have everything that I need. But yeah, I think these guys acclimated really well. They're swimming around like crazy. They're having a lot of fun, and they don't look stressed out at all. And some fish, when you put them in a new environment, they get stressed out really easily. They're not very fun to watch. They just kind of hide for days on end. These guys are out looking for food like almost instantly. So very charismatic fish if you're looking for a small fish for a nano tank. And so the inhabitants, or the stock list for this tank right now, are the 2 Ocellaris clowns. I've got the 3 peppermint shrimp, which are doing a pretty good job, and then I've got a handful of hermit crabs, blue-legged hermit crabs mostly. I've got a couple snails left, turbo snails, but a few of them, flipped themselves over and died. I do have a couple Aptasia left. There's one down in the corner there, and there's one up top there, right under that rock ledge. And the peppermint shrimp have stopped eating the large Aptasia. So there are a few large Aptasia, no polyps that I can see. And there are quite a few bristleworms out now. They really do come out when I feed them. That's when I notice them the most, but there are quite a few bristleworms. The algae, for the most part, has subsided. So, this tank has gone through a lot of different stages here in the last month. It's pretty amazing. Every day it's different. And now with the fish in, I feel like some of the other animals are kind of creeping away. A little bit intimidated by the fish, maybe, but the fish are definitely interesting to watch. So I'm happy. I don't think I can get much better in this tank besides letting it progress a little bit more, getting some more coralline algae growth on the live rock here, and then eventually adding some sort of small anemone, maybe a bubble tip anemone to it. I think at that point, I would be done with this tank in terms of stocking it, and then I just might add a shrimp or a few hermit crabs or a few snails over time to bolster my cleaning crew as they kind of age and die. But hopefully these clowns will be with me for a long time. Really looking forward to it. I think it really does add something to the corner of my cube here. And I guess I'll leave them for the weekend and see how they are next week. But that's all I've got. Hope you like the clowns. Since it is Fan Friday, and since I don't have names for these fish yet, I would be interested in hearing your suggestions for the black Ocellaris clown with the orange face, and the normal Ocellaris clown who is currently hiding out back. So let me know. The black one is more dominant and most likely going to be female, and the normal orange one is less dominant and most likely going to be male. So keep that in mind with your name selections. Let me know, and in a future video I'll let you know which names I decide on. Alright guys, see you later.